Hello, Khamzat Chimaev. Please shut your mouth and fight someone. I beg of you. I don't know what's going on between you and the UFC. I have no idea what's going on with your career right now. Every time I hear you talk about what's going on with your career, I don't get any of my questions answered whatsoever. UFC or Khamzat Chimaev, can we please have some kind of explanation clearly what is going to be happening next in the career of Khamzat Chimaev? Because I have no idea what's going on right now. The UFC says that he's moving up to 185 pounds. Khamzat Chimaev comes out and says, I'm going to be fighting at 170 pounds and I'm going to be fighting in July. The UFC says he's going to be fighting in October and he's not going to be fighting at 170 pounds. So, maybe this video isn't entirely directed at Khamzat Chimaev. Maybe I'm asking the UFC this as well. Please, as a fan of MMA and the UFC, can you please explain to me what's going on with Khamzat Chimaev? We're not hearing anything about any injuries. We're not hearing any... He just had an easy fight with Kevin Holland in September where he completely demolished him in one round. Why haven't we heard anything yet? I don't understand what's going on. I know people are going to say, well, he's trying to fight Colby Covington and Colby Covington is ducking him. I completely understand that, okay? And Colby Covington is at fault here as well. But I'm sick of hearing, this guy ducked me, brother, and I tried to call out this guy and this guy ducked me as well, brother. You know how it is. I don't believe it. Whittaker's ducking you? I don't believe it. I really don't believe that whatsoever. Alex Pereira's ducking you? I don't believe the UFC even offered you Alex Pereira. Am I alone on this or not? I think he's waffling a little bit. And I like Khamzat Chimaev, and I'm not saying that he's a complete liar. But he might be telling a couple pork pies. You know what I'm saying? Couple lies. If anyone doesn't know any Cockney rhyming slang. You were never going to fight Alex Pereira. There's no way the UFC offered you Alex Pereira. That was all fugazi. They were going to make the Israel Adesanya rematch, and we all knew that. And then they made the Israel Adesanya rematch. So, just for my own benefit, shut up about Alex Pereira ducking you, because we know that's not true. Why would the UFC do that when they have Whittaker at middleweight and Israel Adesanya waiting to take the rematch at middleweight? Why would they even offer Alex Pereira a Khamzat Chimaev matchup? It just makes no sense whatsoever. So that's annoying me. Then he says Whittaker's ducking him, and that's annoying me. You know what I mean? It feels like to me, I don't know about anyone else, Khamzat Chimaev, I love him, and I think he's great, and I don't think he's ducking anyone. I really don't think he's ducking anyone, and I think he would win the championship at 170, and depending on the matchup at 185, I think he could win the championship. I think he could beat Alex Pereira. I think he would beat Israel Adesanya. I think he would beat a lot of middleweights as well. I'm not saying that he's a fraud and he's not what he says he is, but it seems like Khamzat Chimaev is only interested in fighting people that don't want to fight him. Am I off on this? He's only interested in fighting people who don't want to fight him or cannot fight him because the fight makes zero sense and the UFC will never make that fight. But when it comes to people like a Paulo Costa, or maybe like other people that are calling out Khamzat Chimaev, it seems as though Chimaev has no interest in fighting those people. Am I off on this, or am I calling it as it is? There seems to be a lot of people that are absolutely A-okay with fighting Khamzat Chimaev, but for some reason, those names never come out of Khamzat Chimaev's mouth. You know what I mean? And he always seems to, Alex Pereira's ducking me, and Whittaker doesn't want it. Like, I do not believe that Whittaker doesn't want it, because I'll tell you this, I think Whittaker beats Khamzat Chimaev. And I think Whittaker knows if he beats Khamzat Chimaev, he'll get a title shot at 185 pounds. And I don't think he wants to take on a Jared Cannonier rematch rather than fighting Khamzat Chimaev. I think he has no qualms taking that fight whatsoever. So I don't believe Whittaker's ducking him, because I'll tell you this. Khamzat Chimaev was open to the idea of fighting Whittaker. Whittaker mentions he's open to the idea of fighting Khamzat Chimaev. All of a sudden, I remember this headline a while ago in an interview from Khamzat Chimaev. I don't want to fight Whittaker. He's a nice guy. I'd like to train with him sometime. I don't want to beat up nice family guys. All of a sudden. You know what I mean? Shavkat's right there. Bilal's right there. These names don't seem to materialize. You know? And he's calling out Usman now. Usman just fought Leon Edwards. He's going to be out for ages. I remember a Khamzat Chimaev who just took on anyone they gave him to get his own way and was fighting once every 3 months. And that was the selling point of Khamzat Chimaev. I really do hope, now that he's at the top of the sport, that selling point of being active and fighting anyone is not going to start going away. I know the fight should have been Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev. But I remember the UFC saying that they're not interested in that and they have plans for Covington. And he's not been turning down fights. And maybe the UFC is just backing up Covington because of what I said a couple of days ago, with them maybe getting Covington to drop the charges on Masvidal so long as they give him a title shot. I completely understand, but still. Can we have something? A move forward. Rather than just all this talking. He says they're going to Sweden in July. And he's calling out names now. And he did mention maybe a Marvin Vettori fight. Vettori just fought. But you know what? I'm okay with the idea of a Vettori fight. We need something here. And I'm getting really frustrated with it. Because I end up watching a Khamzat Chimaev interview. And thinking, oh great, a Khamzat Chimaev interview. Finally we're going to get some answers. And then I leave the interview more confused about what's next for him than when I started watching the interview. You know what I mean? I feel like he's waffling a bit, man. I feel like he's waffling. Just a headline here. Khamzat Chimaev says he accepted fights with Alex Pereira, Robert Whittaker, and Colby Covington, but they didn't accept. I don't think the UFC offered any. I don't think the UFC offered the Alex Pereira fight to him. I do not believe that whatsoever. I also don't believe that the UFC would do the Whittaker matchup yet. I think they might go with the Whittaker matchup. That might be what they end on out of all of the options that they have. They say they didn't offer Covington the fight or that he didn't turn down any fights. And they have a plan for him, which is to get the title shot. So he says a bit. You know what I mean? I don't think Whittaker would say no to that. I really don't. I think Whittaker would beat him. I love Khamzat Chimaev. I think he will become the welterweight champion of the world. But how about this? Be a savage like Belal Muhammad. I'm gonna come out and say it. Be a savage like Belal Muhammad. Be Belal Muhammad. Forget be Joe Pyfer. Be Belal Muhammad. Oh, what do you mean I still ain't got a title shot? Fine, I'll drop down the rankings again and take on the next up-and-comer. Who is it? Shavkat Rakhmonov? Cool, let's get this fight in the works. Hopefully I get my title shot then. It seems like Khamzat Chimaev's being a bit of a diva for a savage, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to start applying pressure on Khamzat Chimaev. I know he's a savage. I know he's a Chechenian warlord. You know what I'm saying? I know he is. And he would destroy all of the welterweights. But we got to start applying pressure on him. We know Covington's likely going to get the title shot in the welterweight division. Let's start looking at other names at welterweight, please. How about Shavkat Chimaev? How about Chimaev says, you know what? Forget Shavkat. I'll take Belal Muhammad just because I want to fight someone right now and earn my title shot. Everything seems a bit unclear. He says he can make 170 pounds. So make 170 pounds. You've had 6 months off. Why at any point during that 6 months off have we not had a video of you doing a weight cut to 170 and just showing you on the scale at 170 pounds? Like, I know I can make this. Some kind of update. Some kind of positive move forward. He says the only reason he missed weight against Kevin Holland or against Nate Diaz when he had that fight was because he had like 5 weeks to train for that main event of a pay-per-view, and then really he likes 8 weeks, and if he had 8 weeks he would make the weight easily, and he didn't miss by 8 pounds, he missed by like 2 or 1 pound, but then he was allowed to rehydrate to get closer to Kevin Holland fight. Finally some answers on that whole situation, which is great to hear. But we're seeing people like Burns and Muhammad go, wow, I can't get a matchup at the top. Give me the guy 5 spaces down. That's what they're doing. And those people need to be rewarded a little bit and like praised a little bit for what they're doing. Belal Muhammad's like still not getting a title shot right. Who's there? Undefeated Sean Brady? Cool, I'll take him on. Where is he ranked? Number 11? Cool, I'll take on Sean Brady then. I'll risk my spot against him just to get in there and win. And then Bilal Muhammad's like, still not getting my shot? Ugh, where's Shavkat? Number 6. I'll go back and fight him. Gilbert Burns. Anyone want to fight? No? Alright, I'll take on Neil Magny then. Neil Magny, number 12 in the division. Cool, I got that win. Anyone want to fight at the top? Can't get any fight? Cool, I'll take on Jorge Masvidal then. Can we see Chimaev in the cage? Please. I know it's not going to be against Usman, otherwise we're going to be waiting for a very long time. Maybe Usman would want to get back in there a little bit sooner. That would be a great matchup. Khamzat Chimaev, Kamaru Usman, a really good matchup for the pair of them. And that would also give Chimaev a chance to get into the pound-for-pound list. We'll see what happens with Usman and when he's looking to return. Maybe he likes to be a bit active after that loss to Leon Edwards after his legs have healed up a little bit. But I'm looking at other names. Maybe he jumps Bilal Muhammad and fights Shavkat Rakhmonov. Maybe he takes the Bilal Muhammad fight. Maybe he just goes, you know what, Luke? Let's get it on. You know? I don't sense this urgency for him. You know what, Mikel Pereira? Let's get it on. Like Piotian, who do I fight? Everyone's booked up. Alright, number 14, Sean O'Malley. Let's get it on. These fighters, when they can't get matchups, they just take a fight. They look down the rankings and they go, what's there? What's there for me right now? Oh, that's there at number 12. Cool. I'll get a fight, get a win. But it seems like Khamzat Chimaev, it's all like, before you know it, he's going to have been out for a year. And it's just sad. Because you see these young fighters, I believe Khamzat Chimaev is 27, maybe 28. He's 28 years of age. He's about to be 29. We're getting close to 30 already, man. This wasn't supposed to be this way. He should have had the title shot by now. And I know Edwards beat Usman, and now twice, and that sort of shook things up a little bit. And maybe he would have got the title shot, if not for the conundrum that was the UFC card where he missed weight against Diaz and had to fight Kevin Holland. But let's just get a scrap on. You want to fight in Sweden in July? Guess what? Covington's going to get a title shot. Usman probably won't be ready. You ain't going to fight Whittaker or Alex Pereira. If you are going to fight Whittaker, let's make the Whittaker fight. I know for a fact Whittaker wouldn't turn that down. Because Whittaker's out of options at 185 as well. Paulo Costa seemed real interested in a fight with Khamzat Chimaev. And all of a sudden, Khamzat Chimaev doesn't really give a fuck about Paulo Costa and doesn't want to fight him. And Paulo Costa's scared of him as well, by the way. Even though Costa seems really interested in that matchup. How about Dricus du Plessis? How about moving up and fighting a Sean Strickland? I know you've trained with him before, but there's always a fight, is what I'm trying to say in this video. And I need to get this off my chest. There's always a fight. You know? Hey, Brendan Allen. Top number 12 on a win streak at middleweight. Let's get me in the top 10 at middleweight while I'm waiting around. Because if they are going to do Edwards versus Covington, and Chimaev's still going to be out, Whittaker's got to fight soon. He was supposed to fight in February in Australia, and Costa pulled out of that one. So he's got to be looking for a fight soon. I'm not trying to wait until July to see Whittaker. I'm trying to get Whittaker in the cage by May or June. Against a Dricus du Plessis, against a Sean Strickland, against anyone. Khamzat Chimaev, who will take him on. So I don't want to see Whittaker wait until July and fight in Sweden. I'm not interested in that. There's names for Chimaev to fight. I know Wonderboy will not fight him under any circumstances whatsoever. But there's always a name. I had to get it off my chest. I love Chimaev, but it's bugging me. This whole situation is just bugging me with him. And it seems like a couple fighters are immune from scrutiny. And that's why they get away with this little lollygagging at the top of the division. Let's get things moving. We got a new champ. Line them up. Let's get the matchups done. In reality, it shouldn't be Muhammad versus Rakhmonov. It should be Chimaev versus Bilal Muhammad. You know what I mean? In July. Let's book it up. Khamzat Chimaev, Bilal Muhammad in July. Fuck Rakhmonov right now. Rakhmonov just beat Gilbert Burns. Great win, just beat Jeff Neal. Great win, I get it. Doesn't necessarily mean that he definitely deserves a title elimination bout. How about we see Shavkat fight the winner of like a matchup coming up soon? You know? The winner of a Masvidal versus Burns. That could be an interesting matchup. But no, we sit around, We call for fights that we know are never going to happen. He's talking shit about Yuri Prohaska now. Like, Yuri's ducking me. You know I beat you up in the gym. That's sparring, dude. Oh, you had a non-stop pure grappling match with Yuri in sparring and you out-grappled him? Good one, dude. That's not how it is in the cage. I'm starting to get sick of Chimaev, if I'm honest with you. And I'm holding him accountable. You know Cannonier would be okay with taking that fight. Cannonier don't have many options. He's an old dude. Not much career left in him. Probably not going to get a title shot anytime soon. You know he'd love to be on the main card of a pay-per-view against a guy like Khamzat Chimaev. I just know these middleweights would say yes. If they were offered. Big co-main event of a pay-per-view in June. Khamzat Chimaev versus you, it's going to be massive. Because alternative for them is main event in the Apex. You know what I mean? No one's going to be watching, but at least you'll take a big risk. I feel like there's just always an option. But Chimaev's only interested in trying to make fights with people that he either can't fight right now for logistical reasons and for matchup reasons, or only interested in fighting people that don't want to fight him. And there are a few of them. Maybe Covington should have taken that fight. But when he doesn't, move on and look for someone who will. We've been having the same conversations about him for 6 months. Let's start some new ones. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.